But then people know is the grand mal seizure, whereby you fall down, you shake, you have an entire seizure, maybe for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, then you come back to yourself. But I want to tell people that epilepsy is just like any other disease. One thing I've come to know is that when people do not have a reason behind why that disease, that condition you're having, the first thing is that they look for reasons why. For example, when you have a cold, you know that it's because you've been exposed to cold. When you have a fever, it's because you have a disease going on in your body and your body is trying to fight it. But now when you have epilepsy, no one has a reason. Why did you have epilepsy? No one has a reason behind it. And right now, as time goes on, there's a lot of research going on. And the more people get to know the reason about epilepsy, the more the stigmatization is there. But sadly,
the more they know, the more there's
stigmatization is there. No, that's the funny thing.
I thought the more we have knowledge and insight of things, that's how we become better, and now we know even how to deal.
No.
So what? Knowledge is our undoing.
Knowledge is our undoing. Because you have the knowledge, but you don't have the support group.
So then, now that we are trying to look for reasons for this.
Yes.
We have had some quarters saying that perhaps it could be a birth defect. Some would even allude to environment. Some will allude to body changes within a person. There's no specific cause for epilepsy?
No.
There's no
specific cause for epilepsy. But there are triggers to epilepsy. For example, when I was talking to the neurologist, I had a brain scan. And after the brain scan, nothing was found in my brain. I'll never forget.
So this does away completely with the issue that this has to be something connected to the brain and a defect in your brain?
No, no, no. Even right now, I'm not praying for you to have such, but even you can be walking, then all of a sudden you have a seizure. Out of nowhere, because this is something that's unexplainable. But there are times of epilepsy whereby one may have a brain injury. Maybe you had an accident, then you have a crack on your head. It can trigger epilepsy. Maybe you had a disease when you were young that affected your brain, you have epilepsy. Maybe you have a mental issue, a lot of depression, no one to help you out, you find yourself having that trigger to epilepsy. Also taking drugs like heroin, like cocaine, and then you start withdrawing, or even alcohol. These small spirits that young men these days are taking, and young women. Once you start withdrawing, most of them end up having epilepsy because the brain.
Just hold it there.
Yes.
No, when you're describing that, it brings to my mind the understanding that sometimes when they would keep saying that even if you're a drug addict and you want to quit completely, you just don't wake up there and you say, I'm not drinking alcohol no more. I'm not taking, you take it, but in small quantities. Because over time there had been concerns that you want to quit, then why are you still taking it? So this could also be the side effects of just withdrawing completely.
Yes, because first and foremost, your brain is the center of everything. That's why whenever someone is affected, when the brain is affected, you have children with autism, sorry about that, you have children with cerebral palsy, because this is the computer of the brain. So you can imagine if you withdraw alcohol immediately without help, you may end up triggering epilepsy.
So you might end up solving one problem, while getting another one.
Yes, and people will say that one is that demon. It came from alcohol. No, he's having seizures. That's a punishment from God. So you see. Now there's one thing I want to tell you. You may have all the information about epilepsy, but if you don't have a support group,
that's the problem.
It will never work. And now that's where we come in and seize the moment. We want to provide that support group. We want to close that gap, because people, believe me or not, they know they have information about epilepsy, but it is the mystery behind it. People take to the witch doctor. I'll never forget. I do my own studies. In order to know what which doctors do, what they do, they take that medicine called phenobarbital. They pound it, and then they say, some quotations, whatever the quotations they do, then they give you
So basically what you would have taken from the hospital
Yes.
is what the witch doctor gives you.
They give you. And then you sleep like this and they say, the child has been healed.
You're
That
okay.
demon has gone. After 2 hours,
You're back to default setting.
Back to default settings. So I just want people to know that we need a support system. And why am I saying a support system? There's something I forgot to tell you. If you allow me to go back, I give you now my journey, so at least you can connect the dots. After I finished high school, I passed well, and I had the marks to go to university, and God helped me, and I went to USIU. When I went to USIU, I started drinking. Why? The stigma. And the people who came around me were people who people not think about. I thought that Christians are going to come around me because my mom is a church person, my dad is a church person, expect the church to come around me. But trust me, the people who came around me were people even who did not know about church. So they told me, Caroline, come.
These are the ones assisting you?
Yeah, they gave me alcohol. And alcohol became a way of just resting my head and just disappearing from this world. One thing I wasn't told is that when you take alcohol, it messes up with the medicine. I did not know about that. So my seizures increased.
Continued.
Yes. And I did not care. I'll just take alcohol and just sleep. Funny enough, I used to pass my exams, but I was so depressed. No one understood me. Remember, I'm also looking for a relationship. Who wants to be a girlfriend to a lady who keeps on having seizures?
And in the layman's perspective, who keeps falling?
Who keeps falling?
Yeah, when you talk seizures in just basic terms, they just keep kila saa tu.
Kila saa tu
Ameka hivi kidogo anaanguka.
Anaanguka. Then you can imagine you're on a date with this person, then all of a sudden
unaanguka tu.
Naanguka tu. The first thing people look at you is, my
What's
friend.
wrong with this person?
What's wrong with this person? And it reached a point whereby I said, there's no need of having relationships. I'm okay the way I am. So I did not think about relationships. In fact, the boyfriend that I had in university, I told him just to go away because my life is too difficult for him to handle. I finished university and I went back to the community. I'm telling you, the community can be brutal.
What are they saying at this point? Are they still around the midst of this could be spiritual?
I've been given as a sacrifice to the devil.
That's what they're still saying at this point?
Yes, I'm the devil's child. This is what happens.
That is a stigma hanging around this condition.
Exactly. Making it even hard for my mom. Remember, my mom has a children's home. So you can imagine, people are saying that she has given me to the devil as a sacrifice, so she's going to take care of her children. And I'm telling you, when I used to get out of, when I used to get out of the gate, people start pointing me.
You're the one who's been given as a sacrifice.
And then they'll point at me. Even I'll go and they'll say, "Kale ni kale kasichana kanaanguka kama mazipora," and I'll say, "Dear Lord, what's wrong?"
And this is what you've had to live with.
Yes. And then I had a beautiful, my sister is very beautiful. And then they will say, no wonder, the second sister is very beautiful. This one will never get married. You know, this one, her time
Now
is just done. Yeah. And it reached a point whereby I became depressed and I almost killed myself.
You almost committed suicide.
Yes.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. You can imagine, your family is having a tough time. They don't have any support group. The community is pointing at you.
At this point, do they have knowledge about epilepsy? Now that you're already diagnosed with it, you've already gone through your high school life, you are in your campus, life. Do they have the insight about what exactly this is and just trying to understand that whatever people are saying, they're saying because they don't have the knowledge. For us, we do. As parents, we do. Do they have this now?
That's where I was going. You may have all the knowledge,
but still,
if you don't have a support group, you will end up becoming the stigmatizer. Because also you want to fit, because you don't want to form a discourse, you want to fit into the community.
Okay, just allow me to get this.
Yes.
What you're saying is that lack of knowledge is not proper, but even having it thereof, much as you're talking about stigma and stigmatization, you could still be the one having all this insight about this condition, but still end up with the one stigmatizing the one with the condition, as opposed to the one assisting. Okay.
Because
so then who helps these people with epilepsy then? I mean, it's
Now the thing is this.
It's just quite a lot
It's
to
quite
take in.
a lot. It's a lot to take
because
in.
Because if someone who does not have insight, will, you know, by default, will just stigmatize because they don't know. They will say, why are you constantly having seizures? Like I said, why are you constantly falling down? Naturally, they will just stigmatize. So I'm trying to imagine someone with zero or very little information stigmatizing, and someone with a lot of this information, because as you're saying, they're trying to fit in, they're also stigmatizing. So then this people with epilepsy, there's really quite a lot to deal with.
Yes, there's that gap, and that gap is a support system.
That's quite a huge gap.
Yes, because I may have all the information about epilepsy, but if I'm staying in a community whereby people view epilepsy in a very negative way, despite the information I have, I'll keep it to myself because I don't want to form any discourse, because it's natural for a human being to avoid discourse at any cost. So you want everything to be smooth. So you're like, I just want everything to be smooth. I don't want to cause any discourse. So I better run with, flow with the, go with the flow rather than going against the flow. And now that's where I came in and I said, we really need to have a support system. And the first support system is the moment, because we are creating awareness and providing that support. When someone calls me and tells me, my child has epilepsy, what do I do? I'm able to ask them, I'm able to talk to them and refer them to the right authorities who can treat them. Now, there's this part I really want to tell you, my turnaround time. I was able to be called to Arizona State University in the US, and I went there.
This now after finishing your SIU?
After finishing SIU, by God's grace, I got a scholarship and I went to Arizona State University.
Despite all this?
Despite all this, I got to go to Arizona State University. When I went to America, do you know that was now the green bulb moment? Don't forget, I was still taking alcohol. It was the light bulb moment. Why? Americans don't care whether you have epilepsy.
Oh, no.
You are given a license to drive. You're given equal opportunities just like anyone else, regardless of anyone. So one day I had a seizure there, and I wondered how are they going to react. When I woke up, the lady was like, you just had a seizure, wake up, wash up, we have to go. I looked at her, I wondered, is she in her right mind?
So there's acceptance.
There's acceptance in the US. People already have the information and they have a support system. So when I went for my classes, don't forget, sometimes I hid, not even sometimes, I hid the fact that I had epilepsy. Unless I had an epileptic seizure, you would never know. So in the US, I came to realize these people have a support system. Epilepsy is like any other disease. I was given a driving license, and I told the driving instructor, do you have epilepsy? The driving instructor told me, yes. So what? As long as you're taking your medication,
it's okay.
And you're following what the doctor is saying, you're okay. And on top of that, I was given equal opportunity while in the US. And I was like, wow, I like the US. I like the US. I want to stay here. This place does not have a lot of stigmatization. But as time went on, I had this urge to come back to Kenya. But I was asking myself, should I go back to Kenya where people are being stigmatized, or stay in the US?
Where there's acceptance.
There's acceptance. And here there is someone who wants to really date me. I can get this citizenship easily, and I'll stay in a world whereby there's no stigmatization. Then one thing I realized, never run from your problems. Hit them head on, meet them head on, though it's difficult. So when I finished my studies there, I stayed for a while. Then I told my host family, I think I need to go back to Kenya. They asked me why. I told them I need to go back to Kenya. I don't know why, but let me first go back to Kenya. When I came back to Kenya, it was like, oh God, the light bulb has gone black. No one looks at the fact that I've gone to the US, I have a master's. Everyone now is still, they're asking me, the Caroline who used to fall, is she back? That's the term they're referring you to. Yes. I asked my mom, why have I come back here? I went back to the US again. Went back to the US. In the US, I met Pastor Lynn, who was my host father there. He talked to me a lot. And I told him about the challenges I was going through. He told me, Caroline, you cannot run away, as I told you. But there's one thing I want to tell you. If there's one person that really has helped me, it is God. I gave my life to Christ while in the US. Little by little, I stopped taking alcohol. Little by little, with help, I stopped taking alcohol. But I was still taking medicine, but I still had seizures. And Pastor Lynn told me, don't worry, you go back to Kenya and make a difference. You never know. Just go there and make a difference. I came back to wonderful Kenya. Now, there is no support system. Again, this is not for the second time. Yes. Still no support system. No support system. And I sat down and asked myself, should I go back? You know, that issue, should I go back to this America? Then my heart was telling me, no. You can't go back. You have to stay in Kenya. You can't go back. Hold it there, Caroline. Yes. I want us to take a very quick breather. We recoil and now we look at the seized moment, because it was at this point where now seized the moment was birthed. Yes. As we talk about creation of awareness, to what end and to what extent? And also as we keep diving deeper into this issue of stigmatization, which also forms the theme of this year's creation of awareness of epilepsy. Just how does it assist? Having also that particular month of November for that purpose, how does it help? And what ways moving forward as far as management of this condition is concerned? We'll look at that after this breather. Okay. Time for that break. We circle back with plenty more of this conversation. Stay with us. Thank you very much for your valid company. We continue apace with our conversation, still holding court with Caroline Lydia, the founder, Seize the Moment, and what is forming base of our discussion is epilepsy awareness, also taking cognizance of the fact that this year's theme is stigma, and just also looking at the Epilepsy Awareness Month coming in November. But before we go to Seize the Moment, you were telling me off air that 16 years of your life you are just on medication and the drugs being prescribed and being given by the doctor. There was no point in your life where you thought I needed to see a neurologist, which is a very important factor in this condition. And I was just asking, and I'm wondering, you know, by the time you have any condition, you're also doing your own research. You're gathering information. And you'll know a thing or two or three, sometimes when close to what the doctor knows, only that you can't treat yourself. You didn't feel the need to see a neurologist? Perhaps this would have helped the situation in one way or the other? I did not have any support system. And that was the biggest problem? Yes. No one was pushing me to go and see a neurologist. No one. By yourself, did you feel the need for this? No, I didn't feel the need. I had the medicine. The medicine was stopping everything. So it's okay. If the medicine is working, let it continue. So you're okay at this? You're just... It's all good. It's all good. Then now, when I came back to Kenya, I got a job, and one day I had a seizure in the office. One of my greatest friends told me, please, Caroline, have you ever thought of going to see a neurologist? The first thing I asked her was, yeah, I know they're neurologists, but how do they help? She told me, no, I want you to go and see a neurologist. And I refer you to Professor Mayo. So that was my first meeting with a neurologist. I went to Professor Mayo. He told me 16 years later, yes, go bring a brain scan and an EEG, something I've never had in my life. So I went to the doctor. I went out to the people who scan. They took a head, they had the MRI scan, and after that they put some things in my head, and then they would tell me breathe in. breathe out, and then they took, some brain waves here and there, and then they gave me the report. Then I took it to Professor Mayo. Professor Mayo looked at it and he said, you have epilepsy, but your brain is okay, so we don't know what's causing it, but we'll be able to manage it.
So wait, so all this time, you're getting treated for epilepsy, 16 years, but they didn't know the cause of your epilepsy.
No.
But they're treating epilepsy.
Yes, and the medicine was working. I'm telling you, when you believe in something,
regardless.
It works. Regardless of anything, it works.
So you believed it was epilepsy, let's just get this medication, let it treat.
Let it treat. I don't know to cause any discourse. Let it continue, It was working in the US, it's working here. Yeah. But now my friend came and told me, go and see a neurologist.
So now you're being told the issue is not your brain.
No.
So what are they saying the problem is?
The doctor said they don't know the reason. But I have electric currents in my brain that are very irregular. And so I asked the doctor, what do I do? He first asked me, you're in a childbearing age. And I believe one day you want to be a mother. I looked at him with blank eyes. Are you insane? Be a mother to who? Because at the moment, already I had forgotten about relationships. As I told, wants to be in a relationship with someone with epilepsy.
Yeah, plus also there's so many myths surrounding people living with epilepsy. They can't, some would say they can't even get married. They can't even have children.
Yes.
How are they taking care of children if they can't take care of themselves?
Exactly. And Professor Mayo told me, I'm going to withdraw you from the drugs you're taking and give you more effective drugs, which will not affect you. So in case one day, even he said this, in case one day you prefer to being a mother, at least to be able to conceive and have a child. So I was withdrawn from the drugs I was taking and I was put on Lamictal. Lamictal is that what you call a magic tablet. My seizures reduced from every week to once a month. My seizures critically dropped. And my greatest friend told me, always make sure you're going to the neurologist. In fact, she became like my teacher. Make sure you're going to the neurologist. And remember, I am your friend. So she'll make sure I've gone to the neurologist. She'll make sure that every month I go and visit Professor Mayo. And Professor Mayo was also monitoring me. As time went on, as you know, we also have feelings. Even if you have epilepsy, we also have feelings. Boys came my way. One of them was a doctor, interesting. But I was like, we had already kunitibu sana. So I said, no, I don't want him. So I stuck like that. Then finally I got my husband, who's called Patrick. Interesting, I have to tell you this, it's a very interesting fact. My husband was a matatu driver. That was a shock also to my family. Sasa, huyu amependa tu ni mtu wa matatu because she cannot get anyone who can take care of her. But I let her be married.
Stigma is still continuing.
Stigma is still continuing, even if my seizures have gone down considerably. And I love my husband.
And you're almost getting well, stigma still is continuing.
It's true. Yeah. And so even to chase away my current husband, I told him, even I take Lamictal, and I opened for him the pass. I take Lamictal and have seizures. He told me, I know, so what? You're going to be my wife. And you're going to be the mother of my children. I looked at him with a blank and I told him, do you know what you're putting yourself into? He told me, I don't care. I love you the way you are, and you're going to have a family.
And now you have 2 children.
And I have 2 children with you.
Now this is why it was important for me to ask as we are beginning this conversation, what really causes epilepsy? Because there's all this connotation that it just has to be something within your brain. There's a brain defect. But from what your scan shows and what you're telling us, your brain was okay.
My brain is very okay.
So up to now, you still don't know what caused your epilepsy?
I don't.
But you have the condition.
I have the condition, and right now, as I'm speaking to you, the seizures have reduced considerably. In fact, even the last time I was with Professor Mayo, I told him, usually, Professor Mayo is very good. He usually makes sure that he follows up on what's going on. And he was, one day he told me, Caroline, I'm seeing a huge improvement. And one day, I may withdraw.
Completely from
I may withdraw it from you if the seizures cease. But one thing I want to say is that epilepsy, my brain is good. So some of these epilepsy seizures, they don't have any reason.
They have nothing to do with the brain.
Nothing to do with the brain.
So at this point is it now where Seize the Moment was birthed? The whole idea is to create awareness, reduce on stigma.
Yes.
But now you felt the need, let me stay in the country, let me create awareness.
Yes. And
which year was this?
I started Seize the Moment. The idea came to me last year, about 2. Then
So it's about 2 years, you
2
can
years
say.
ago, I started procrastinating, you know, checking people to see how they were thinking about it. And funny enough, people around were like, yeah, speak about it.
Yeah.
Not many people speak about epilepsy. Then I said,
I really get a sharp disconnect in us. I don't know, our societies, our community as Africans, we are peculiar people.
We are peculiar people.
And they will come and stigmatize and then say, okay, now go do it. We don't know, go do it, go create awareness.
Imagine, go create awareness, tell people about epilepsy, we are behind you. But they want to stay behind the curtains and not just tell you, we are supporting you, we are supporting you.
Yeah.
Now I say, no, it's high time I start telling people, I have epilepsy. And I'm living with it positively. I'm a mother, and also you can become the best you are. Then I started researching on people who've had epilepsy, famous people who've had epilepsy. Believe me or not, Nobel laureate, the Nobel Prize, the Nobel Prize man, he had epilepsy. Agatha Christie had epilepsy. Many famous people, even all the American presidents, have epilepsy. Let me shock you. Even Lil Wayne has epilepsy. And he's living a full life. Then I told myself, Seize the Moment will come in to be the support group. Yes, we are going to raise awareness and provide that support.
Yeah, one of the main key ingredients of this condition, support.
It's support. And also coming out and accepting it. That's the thing. If you don't accept it, you'll always stay under the veil of epilepsy. But when you come out, let me tell you, it says, what doesn't beat you up, what doesn't destroy you makes you stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I became stronger. For the first time, I was able to say, I have epilepsy with no qualms at all. I was able to tell my boss, I have epilepsy. He told me, who cares? You're performing very well. Even, you know, my boss has also been supportive. And this is the moment I've been able to get calls and I've been able to connect them with people like Kawi.
So this creation of awareness has been taken very positively.
Yes.
Unlike what we saw while you're being diagnosed with this condition and growing up with it, and all the stigma that surrounded it. Much as, of course, there's still much stigma, but at least as you're doing it, you're realizing that it's getting a lot of positive traction. Yes.
In fact, I went to the NGO board because right now we got registered last year as an NGO. We are still new. And I asked them, is there an organization that deals with epilepsy? They told me, no, you're the first one. That's what they told me. No, you're the first one.
This is 2 years ago.
Yes, this was 2 years ago. They told me, I told them, wow. Then it's high time people came to know about epilepsy. And that's why when they call me, I refer them. I usually ask someone, please, I want you to visit Kawe. Kawe is the first step. They will give you information about epilepsy. They will provide you with the necessary support. Then also I tell the person who's calling me the guardian, please, because you're the first support system, do not stigmatize this person. Love this person the way they are. Open for them opportunities. And I'm really grateful for going to the US. You know, it helps if you go to other countries because you're able to see their culture versus our culture. So I was able to implement what I learned there, here. And the other thing I also want to tell you is that also the government should come hand in hand.
In terms of what policy? In terms of
having giving policies. When I went to the Constitution, yes, we have that. We have that aspect of having a disability card. But the only disabilities that are handled there are people who are blind, mute, or deaf. There's nothing about epilepsy. Nothing about it. And on top of that. On top of that, medicine is very expensive.
The treatment.
The treatment is very expensive. The Lamictal that I take is 250 shillings per tablet.
And how many do you take?
2.
So you're talking about 500?
Yes.
This is per what? What's the time frame?
The time frame is the morning and the evening.
So every day?
Yes.
500 bob every day?
Yes. So we can afford that in this economy.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful for Kawe because they come in and bridge that gap. But I also even encourage people, please go and see a neurologist. Try as much as you can and see a neurologist because a neurologist will offer you the best advice. But
and the best treatment option.
Exactly.
Regardless of how expensive
it is.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is we do not have many neurologists in Kenya.
Also, yeah.
And the ones we have are very expensive.
And very few.
And very few. But Professor Mayo is affordable. And on top of that, he gives you some time whereby you can sit down and speak. And he's an authority in the area of epilepsy.
I hear you.
Yes, because the problem is if you don't know the reason behind what's going on, you may end up thinking that it's something else while it's not.
Spiritual issues and demons.
Oh,
that's what
my
you
friend.
think about.
Yes, I thought it was a spiritual issue. The demon has entered. This demon has refused to go away. So
yet it's a condition that can be managed and possibly even treated,
yes,
as you're telling us.
Absolutely.
I hear you. We're about to wrap up, but I also want you to weigh in your thoughts in as far as this theme is concerned. We're looking at the theme of the Epilepsy Day 2023 theme is stigma. And this stigma has been extrapolated. That is a call to patients, governments, world leaders, and the concerned stakeholders, those who are in positions of power with an intention to remove the stigma around epilepsy. And just the question I want to pose to you, Caroline, is that having this theme of the year 2023 being stigma and it being extended to different stakeholders to see and look for better ways to end this, and having November being commemorated on an annual basis as the Epilepsy Awareness Month, to what end does it help with this situation or condition altogether?
First and foremost, it's good. This initiative is very good.
Yeah.
And I support it 100%. But we miss the biggest link. The biggest link is the grassroots. That mother...
That common mwananchi, you say?
That's common mwananchi.
So you say that also this should have been put into this... people, the stakeholders, not just looking at government, world leaders and the likes.
Exactly. A stakeholder, a mother who has a child with epilepsy knows how it feels. So the first step should be create awareness at the grassroots level. Provide support at the grassroots level. Because it's good, we have leaders, we have people who have come around it, which is okay. But the problem is not up there, it is down here. Once we settle with the once we're able to create awareness down here and provide support system, that means the schools to be educated about epilepsy, because the school is a point of contact. The mothers to be educated about epilepsy. What do you do when a child has epilepsy? What do you do? The community to provide the support system, because if there are no support system at the grassroots level, this will look just like any other day. I know that's the biggest problem, because at the grassroots there is no support. We have all these banners everywhere.
And we are commemorating the day and the month is all put for this.
Yes, but you don't remember that woman who has transported their child from Nairobi, taken them to the rural areas so as to hide them from epilepsy. If this woman had a support system, and if this woman knew information, got information and the support system, this child will still be in school, and they'll still continue being in school and get the same opportunities just like any other child. But if that mother, that first point of contact, doesn't have the support system, I'm sorry, the stigmatization month is all in vain. So I will encourage that we have grassroots. Reach out to that mother, provide the support system, go to the community, make a research. What do the community think about epilepsy. Go to the schools, introduce epilepsy in the syllabus. When someone has epilepsy, what do? So when the children see their fellow child having a seizure, they will not run away. They'll have the basic first aid information. When somebody collapses in the street, they'll be able to say, wow, this is what we do. They don't run away. Immediately, they provide the basic first aid. And that's what I'm saying. That's where we lose. If we don't start there at the first point of contact, we'll never win. We have to start there. Once we start there, we can be able to say there are small steps. Because one thing I have to tell you is this. We live in a very unequal world. We can never stop stigmatization, but we will greatly reduce.
We can always reduce it.
We can only reduce. And then another thing I'll encourage Kenyans, be that support system. Know how to do first aid. First aid is one way of creating.
But how will they know if they're not trained and taught to do this?
Now,
that's what you're saying.
The area.
That's why you're saying we need to start from the grassroots.
Exactly.
But even as we are marking this day or the month itself, because November is purely dedicated for epilepsy awareness. And the theme is already out for this year. And stigma. And we have all these various important persons in the community and societies being put at the center stage. But we have very key personnel and persons that you're saying that one at the grassroots level, that mother, that father, that person suffering, that PWE, the person with epilepsy, those are the first point of contact. That means the clinical officers in the counties, they should know about epilepsy, so they can be going home by home, teaching people about epilepsy. If we cannot do it in the grassroots, I'm sorry, this will just be another PR exercise. And now that's where we lose it. And because I had that support system, that's why I am where I am right now. That's why I am a mother. That's why I'm able to speak about it. That's why I'm able to go outside the country. I go outside the country, I speak about it, because I'm telling you, if you don't have the support system, it's all going to go in vain. And that's why I'm telling the policymakers, it is good. But you have to start at the ground. If the mother has that support, if that grandmother has that support, they will not ship the child to the rural areas. The school will not call, hello, your child has epilepsy, can you come and take them? You know, because you already have support. Some schools even say that the child is causing mayhem, is a disturbance.
Exactly.
And this is an entire condition that needs assistance.
Yes, because imagine if the teacher has the information and the support, when a child has a seizure, she will not run. She'll tell the student, even the students will tell the teacher, so and so has a seizure. Come and help this child, and the teacher will come. They'll calmly help the child. The child will wake up, sit down, and get back into the system, and school will still continue. But as long as at the grassroots levels we have not addressed it, this will always remain a problem. And that's since the moment I'm asking if they can partner with this, they can partner with us so that we can go to the grassroots levels. Meet this mother, meet this father, and start. It is not easy. It's not an easy journey, but every journey starts with one step. Hopefully, 10 years from that, people will start taking these things seriously, and people now will know, wow, epilepsy, just like any other disease.
I hear you.
Yes, and some witch doctors, sadly, they will lose some income, and some people will lose a lot of income.
I hear you.
But
I hear you.
People with epilepsy will have hope that everything is possible and disability is not inability. And
that's why we had you here today, because some of those myths that we also oftentimes keep hearing, you've at least demystified it for us. As they would say, someone with epilepsy cannot have children, cannot get married, how will they manage their own family, yet they can't manage themselves. You are a true testament that is very much possible. And also, as far as ending stigma is concerned, at least now we know that not just having the theme as we have, not just having the month as we already have is enough. There needs to be some more push to actually end this stigma that we are talking about.
Yes, and also when I will encourage you, if you can invite even a neurologist to come and speak about it, so people can have hope and know, oh, there's a neurologist somewhere. Even if you can invite someone like Kawe to come and speak about it, because they are, you know, the people who deal with epilepsy from a medical point of view, so people can have hope that you can continue.
I hear you, Caroline.
And epilepsy is not the end of the world.
I hear you. And we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Yes,
I hear you. I have been speaking to Caroline Lydia, who's the founder, Seize the Moment, and definitely what has formed center of our conversation is looking at epilepsy awareness. That just what exactly can you and I also do in our individual capacity as far as ending stigma of this condition is concerned. This also taking cognizance of the fact that this year's theme is all about ending stigma, and also the Awareness Month coming up in the month of November. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately good morning, Kenya. From me and on behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for watching. Till tomorrow, good morning.